1, 2, ready, play. So that piece was played at a pretty bright tempo, 100 beats per minute. Feel free to slow things down so that you can get this under your fingers. But let's walk through this beat by beat. We're going to start out with our steady bass. That's going to happen throughout the first 4 measures where we're over the E chord. And what we're going to do is play on the offbeat, much like we did in one of our exercises. We're going to play our 3rd string quite a bit here under this E major chord. That's the first little phrase. So that's the bass, and then on the end of 1, 3rd string with the index finger. Then we're going to pinch. So this is a really good kind of forward movement. I like to think of it as that. So it's bass, 3rd string, and then pinch with the bass and the 2nd string. Then we're coming back to the 3rd string. You can see already how that's kind of weaving itself in on those and notes. All right, so after we come back, we're going to put the little finger down on the 2nd fret and get that C sharp. That's a pinch with the 6th string. And then on the and, this time instead of going back to the 3rd string, we're going to kind of roll through and hit the open 1st string. Then bass 3rd string. And then move up from that C sharp to the D on the 2nd string 3rd fret. We're going to pinch there and then roll through for that 1st string on the and of that beat as well. Then bass and the 3rd string. Then we're pinching back on that C sharp. Then on the and, you're picking up and letting that B note ring open 2nd string. And then a lonely bass note for a beat. So you can tell there's nothing really fancy happening on the fretboard. This is all about the picking here. We've got our E chord pretty much locked down. We're moving the melody just between these 3 notes, really. 4 notes. We've got our E, we've got our C sharp, D, and then the open B. And let's not forget about that G sharp that really kind of fills out that middle ground, and I like to view that as a filler note, and it kind of weaves itself in and out of the piece here. All right, and then to answer that, we're going to bring in some chords. So we start out the same, but then we do a double up, but we do that reaching up and getting the full E7 here. So we've got bass where we pinch with the chord and then come back and hit the chord on the and of that beat. Same thing here, only we back down to the C sharp on the 2nd string. Remember, we're holding the chord, so we've kind of got these notes on top before picking up to just get back to the top of our E major chord. Here's the picking, and then here comes the chord. From here, we're going to move into A. So fret up in A, and what we're going to do is kind of keep that same sort of rolling picking idea going. We're doing bass, 3rd string, and then back then the second string and then back. So that's really the same movement. Our bass is just shifted from the 6th string up to the 5th string. Then pump that bass before moving into an A7. So you're going to spread your fingers out a little bit, and you're going to want to get these 2 notes, right? So this finger stays the same. We expose the open 3rd string now, and we've got this A7 with a pair of G's in the chord here. And so doing that, we can now do our little strum. Call it a strum, but it's really that simultaneous picking that we've got going. So we're doubling up there, and then very similarly, we're going to double up, but coming down to the 2nd fret and then open. So, all right, let's hear that in time. All right, and then we go back to our E part that we've already done. It's the chord part. Before getting into our B7. And here's a little trick. We're kind of doing the same picking pattern, but so we're doing bass on the 5th string, pick up on that 3rd string, up for the off note. Notice we've got this B7 fretted. So we're doing that same move where it's bass, 3rd string, pinch with the 2nd string in the bass, and then back to the 3rd string. But now we need to do a couple of chords. We want to pick the top like this. So it's with the bass and then come back and pluck just the chord tone's top 3 strings. The trick is that we've landed right here. So this is going to be not quite a double up on the 3rd string, but almost a triple up, really, if you think about it. So there were 3 right in a row on that 3rd string. Something to practice for. Then the bass to round out this measure. Then we head back to our A. Okay. All right, and then once we hit that 3rd string for A, we're going to do our A7 for a double up. So that sequence looks like this. Then back to an E, but this time we're going to do just that single note melody picking that really started this progression off. I like to end that on the 4 and with our G sharp there before going back to the open 6th string. We're just going to let that hang here, but you can absolutely loop this around, and I would really, really encourage you to do so. But let's put this whole thing together. We're going to slow it way down from 100 beats per minute. Let's go down to 70. It's a workable tempo, but definitely a whole lot slower than 100 beats per minute, so that you can really get your eyes and ears on what's happening here. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, ready, play. So that should serve as an example of how you can take these concepts, mix them and match them into something that sounds musical. Now, I'd encourage you to practice all of the exercises before trying to tackle this and put it into a real bit of music. But to me, there's nothing quite like putting a melody to something to kind of ground you in what you're doing. It helps to solidify your timing with the bass. It helps to kind of breathe some life into what we're doing here and remind us that we're making music. But it definitely takes a lot of time. It definitely takes a lot of practice. So don't get discouraged if it doesn't sound perfectly clean right away. That's the point of this course, is to get you in the woodshed and building the skills, the fundamental movements in your fingers that will help get you there. We're going to put this to the test one more time in the next lesson, where we run through another idea, musical idea, that brings together these concepts, but we're going to do it in the key of G to give you some variation between what we just covered in E. All right, we're going to have some fun with that in the very next lesson. I'll see you there.